The sound of laughter and clinking glasses washed over me as I stepped into my brother's lavish birthday party. I clutched the carefully wrapped gift under my arm, my stomach a tight knot of anxiety. It was a handmade leather-bound journal, filled with sketches and memories from our childhood. I was between jobs, and it was all I could afford. Connor, charismatic and always the center of attention, held court by the fireplace. I took a deep breath and approached him. "Happy birthday," I said, offering the gift. He took it, a smirk playing on his lips. He tore the paper, held up the journal, and laughed. "A used notebook? Couldn't afford a real gift this year?" The guests nearby snickered. My face burned with a humiliation so intense I felt dizzy. I muttered an excuse and turned to flee, but a gentle hand touched my elbow. The party planner, a man with a kind, concerned face, leaned in. "We need to talk," he whispered urgently. "Privately." My heart hammered. Why did this stranger want to talk to me? He led me to a quiet hallway away from the party noise. "My name is Leo," he said, his voice low. "I handle Connor's events. I'm sorry to pull you away, but I had to ask, did you sign off on the final vendor contracts?" I stared at him, completely bewildered. "What? No. Of course not. This is my brother's party." Leo's expression grew grim. "That's what I was afraid of. Your name is all over my paperwork as the financial guarantor. Connor told all the vendors you were backing the event." The air left my lungs. I felt the floor tilt. Connor had used my name, my identity, to secure things for his party. He'd done it without my permission, without even telling me. The casual cruelty of his public mockery was now layered with something far more sinister. What exactly had he done with my name, and what was I now responsible for? I stumbled back into the main room, my mind reeling. The colorful lights and happy music felt like a mockery. Connor was now boasting to a circle of admirers, gesturing grandly as if he'd single-handedly orchestrated the entire perfect event. I caught snippets of conversation from guests near me, whispers about my cheap and pathetic gift. I felt invisible and exposed, a walking embarrassment in my own family. I wanted to disappear, to just slip out the door and never look back. But I was frozen in place, trapped by the social expectation to stay. As I stood there, trying to blend into the wallpaper, I saw Leo moving through the crowd again. This time, he was holding a thin manila folder, and his eyes were locked directly on me. Leo guided me to a relatively quiet corner. "I pulled the primary invoices," he said, opening the folder. My eyes scanned the pages, and my blood ran cold. There it was, in black and white. My full name and contact information were listed as the financial guarantor and event patron. Connor had used my identity to secure premium services. The light band, the top-shelf bar, the ice sculpture. He'd promised them I was good for the money. It wasn't technically illegal, but it was a massive breach of trust and incredibly risky. If he decided not to pay, these vendors could come after me. Leo's voice broke through my panic. "I need to warn you," he said softly. "The head caterer is looking for you. He's not happy." Before I could process this, a large man in a chef's jacket was standing before me, his face flushed with anger. "Are you her?" he demanded, not even waiting for an introduction. "You're the one who promised to cover the surprise seafood tower upgrade, and now you're backing out?" That was $1,000 addition. I felt all the eyes in the immediate vicinity turn to us. I never promised anything," I stammered, my voice weak. "I didn't even know about it." The caterer scoffed, disbelief etched on his face. "Your brother said you were good for it. Said you were just being modest in public." The public embarrassment was a physical weight, crushing me. Over the caterer's shoulder, I saw Connor watching the entire exchange, a smug, satisfied smile on his face. He was enjoying this. I finally found Connor alone for a moment near the patio doors. "How could you?" I hissed, my voice trembling with a mixture of hurt and rage. "You used my name. You told them I was paying for things." Connor just shrugged, his smirk never fading. Relax. It's just how things are done. If you had real money or a real career, I wouldn't need to use your name to make things look classy. You should be flattered I used it. He was twisting everything, making it sound like my fault. Just then, our mother walked over. What's all this arguing? She asked, frowning. Before I could explain, Connor sighed dramatically. She's just stressed about money again, Mom. Making a scene. Our mother patted my arm. Sweetheart, maybe you should go home and rest. Defeated and utterly alone, I turned and left the party, my hands trembling. Later that night, my phone buzzed. It was a text from Leo, the party planner. Asterisk, I'm truly sorry about what happened. If you're willing, I'd like to meet tomorrow. I have some information that might help you. Asterisk, the next morning, I met him at a quiet cafe. He slid a cup of coffee toward me. I feel responsible, he said. Connor has a history of this. He uses the names of family and friends to boost his reputation. He's trying to build his event planning business and thinks association with respectable people lends him credibility. The pieces clicked into place. My public humiliation wasn't just cruelty, it was a strategic part of his image. He needed me to look broke so his use of my name as a backer would seem like a secret, classy favor. Leo looked at me intently. I have copies of all the documents. Would you like them? For your own protection. I took the thick envelope from Leo. It wasn't a decision made in anger, but one born from a need for self-preservation. I spent the afternoon at my kitchen table, reading through every page. I started a timeline, documenting each instance where Connor had used my name. As I worked, memories flooded back, years of him belittling my career choices, overshadowing my achievements, and using my generosity against me. This wasn't a one-time mistake. It was a pattern. Holding these documents felt like holding a shield. I didn't know what I would do with them yet, but I knew I needed to be prepared. I had to protect myself from my own brother. A week later, a lifeline appeared. I got a job offer from the Oakwood Community Foundation. The role was to help evaluate applications for their small business grant program. It was meaningful work, and I was thrilled. On my first day, as I was familiarizing myself with the process, a familiar name jumped out from the list of applicants, Connor Hartley, Premier Event Designs. My blood ran cold. The irony was so thick I could taste it. I wasn't the decision maker, but I would be part of the team that reviewed the applications. I could influence the outcome by ensuring the committee had all the facts. I pulled his application file, my hands feeling numb. The ethical dilemma felt like a trap. I wanted him to be held accountable, but I couldn't let my personal feelings taint the process. I went straight to my supervisor, Maya, and explained the situation, the conflict of interest, the forged documents, everything. She listened carefully, her expression neutral. You did the right thing by telling me, she said. You are formally recused from reviewing his file. However, she added, the foundation has a process for submitting factual corrections. If you have evidence that an application contains demonstrably false claims, you may submit that evidence for the committee's review. It was ethical, clean, and above board. I felt a wave of relief. I had a path forward that didn't involve sabotage. With Maya's approval, I opened Connor's application file. What I saw made my stomach twist into a sickening knot. Under the Section 4 Financial Backing and Endorsements, my name was listed prominently. He claimed I was a primary financial sponsor who had invested $20,000 in his business. He stated I had co-signed for his professional equipment loan. He attached a forged letter, supposedly from me, vouching for his impeccable character and reliability. The lies were brazen and extensive. The party humiliation wasn't an isolated incident, it was a key part of a much larger, calculated deception. I compiled my evidence with meticulous care. I included the party invoices Leo had given me, my own bank statements showing no such investment, and a simple, sworn statement declaring the endorsement letter a forgery. I submitted it all to the grants committee through the official channel, with a copy to Maya. I made no accusations, no emotional appeals. I just presented the facts. My goal wasn't to get him rejected, it was to ensure the committee's decision was based on truth. A few days later, Maya called me into her office. "The committee has received your submission," she said. "They've decided to review Connor's application further." That evening, my phone rang. It was Connor. His voice was uncharacteristically sweet. "Hey, sis. Just checking in. How's the new job?" The fake concern was a glaring red flag. He knew. He sensed something was wrong. "It's fine," I said, keeping my voice neutral. "Listen," he said, his tone shifting, "I just need you to know that I might have used your name on a few things for my business loan. The lenders really trust your reputation, you know? It would be a real shame if anything screwed that up for me." It was a veiled threat. He was trying to bully me into silence. "I have to go, Connor," I said, and hung up before he could say more. He showed up at my apartment the next day, his mask of charm completely gone. "What did you do?" he demanded, pushing past me. "They're freezing my grant application." "I didn't do anything to your application, Connor. I just provided the truth." He laughed, a harsh, ugly sound. "You're just jealous. You've always been jealous of my success. You're so financially incompetent, you can't stand to see me win." He pulled a document from his bag. "Just sign this. It's a new letter of endorsement. It fixes everything." I looked at the paper, then back at his desperate face. "No," I said, my voice quiet but firm. His face contorted with rage, and he stormed out, slamming my door so hard the frame shook. The following Monday, Maya asked to see me. "The committee has made a decision regarding your brother's application," she began. I held my breath. "Based on the evidence you provided, and some additional discrepancies they uncovered in his financial projections, the application has been permanently frozen. He is disqualified from this grant cycle." She gave me a small, reassuring smile. "This wasn't about you. It was about the integrity of the process. You acted ethically." A profound sense of relief washed over me. Justice was beginning, not because I sought revenge, but because his own lies had caught up with him. The news, as it often does, began to spread through the local business community. I started getting calls from other vendors, the florist from his party, a sound equipment company. They had heard about the grant issue and were calling me, assuming I was his partner and would know what was going on. I calmly and clearly explained the situation to each one. I was not involved in Connor's business, and he had used my name without my permission. I was just clearing my own name, but with every conversation, another brick in Connor's reputation crumbled. His carefully constructed image was cracking. The fallout reached our family. My mother called, her voice shrill with anger. "How could you ruin your brother's chances like that? Do you know what you've done? You've destroyed his future out of sheer jealousy." She demanded a family meeting. I arrived at my parents' house to a wall of tension. My mother immediately launched into accusations. I didn't shout back. I simply placed my folder of documents on the coffee table. "This is what Connor has been doing," I said calmly. "He has been using my name to secure credit and make false claims." I was protecting myself. My mother refused to even look at the papers. "I don't believe it. He's your brother." Just as I thought I would be cast as the villain forever, my Aunt Carol, my mother's sister, spoke up. "I believe her," she said, her voice strong. The room went silent. She looked at my mother, her expression sad. "Connor did the same thing to me 5 years ago. He used my information to get a credit card. It took me 2 years to clear the debt and fix my credit score. I never said anything because you always defended him, and I didn't want to cause a rift." The revelation hung in the air, stark and undeniable. The facade of my brother's perfection finally, completely, collapsed. My mother sank into a chair, her face pale with shock. The front door burst open and Connor strode in, his face a mask of fury. "What is this, an intervention?" he yelled, his eyes wild. He saw the folder on the table and pointed a shaking finger at me. "This is all your fault. You're ruining my life on purpose. You've always been a pathetic, petty little." His tirade was cut short as he took in the silent, disappointed faces of our family. No one was jumping to his defense. His tantrum, in that moment, was the final confirmation everyone needed. The family's perception of him shifted visibly in the room. As if on cue, the doorbell rang. My father answered it to find the owner of the sound equipment company from the party standing on the porch. "I'm sorry to bother you at home," the man said, "but Connor Hartley owes me for equipment rentals, and he's not returning my calls. His paperwork listed this address." He glanced into the living room and saw me. "And you," he said, "you signed as the guarantor." My mother put her hand over her mouth, horrified. Connor tried to spin a story, stammering about a misunderstanding, but no one was listening anymore. The truth was standing on our doorstep. Later that night, Connor called me, his voice broken. "Please," he begged. "You have to help me. Talk to the vendors. Talk to the foundation. Tell them it was a mistake. I'll pay everyone back, I swear." We met in a public park the next day. He was a mess, unshaven, his eyes desperate. He cycled through begging, blaming, and making empty promises. I listened until he ran out of words. Then I said, "No, Connor. I will not fix this for you. I'm done cleaning up your messes. You need to handle the consequences of your own actions." For the first time, I saw genuine fear in his eyes. As I turned to leave, he muttered, "You'll regret this." The foundation concluded its investigation. Connor was not only disqualified from the current grant cycle, but he was also barred from applying for any future foundation funding for 3 years. The official reason was material misrepresentation. The local vendor community, now fully aware of his practices, began cutting ties with him. His budding business effectively crumbled. I never asked for any of this punishment. I had only ever presented the facts. His own web of lies had ensnared him completely. The justice was clean, and it was absolute. A month later, I received a formal invitation in the mail. The Oakwood Community Foundation was hosting its annual awards ceremony, recognizing donors and volunteers. My work on the grants team was being acknowledged. I wore a simple, elegant dress and walked into the ballroom with my head held high. As I accepted a small plaque for my service, I scanned the crowd. And there, in the very back, stood Connor. He looked disheveled and out of place, watching from the shadows. The guests around me weren't whispering about a cheap gift, they were nodding respectfully. After the ceremony, I saw him moving toward me through the crowd. He stopped in front of me, his shoulders slumped. "I'm sorry," he mumbled, not meeting my eyes. It was a weak, broken apology, and I couldn't tell if it was for me or for his own ruined life. I didn't know if he meant it, and in that moment, I realized it didn't matter if he did. His apology was for his benefit. My healing was for mine. "I accept your apology," I said calmly. "But that doesn't mean things go back to the way they were. I hope you get the help you need, Connor. I truly hope you grow up." I felt no hatred, only a distant pity. This was the closure I needed. Weeks later, Leo, the party planner, called me. "The way you handled that entire situation was incredible," he said. "I was so impressed by your integrity and calmness. I've recommended you for an open seat on the city's Small Business Advisory Board. I think you'd be perfect." I accepted the nomination. The public humiliation that had shattered me had, in the end, led to a profound personal strength. People had noticed not what I owned, but who I was. I didn't destroy Connor, he had methodically destroyed himself with every lie and every act of entitlement. I had simply stopped letting him use me as a foundation for his false life. That evening, I placed the handmade leather journal, once mocked as a symbol of my poverty, on my mantle. It was no longer a reminder of shame, but a testament to my dignity, my resilience, and my unshakable worth.